Against calls for President Obama to give back his Nobel Peace Prize. The president of Bolivia and a Russian political leader getting attention when they suggested that Mr. Obama should give up his prize after ordering airstrikes on Libya. Joining me now, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor Monica Crowley, and Alan Colmes, host of the Alan Colmes Show. So we loved you two so much together on the O'Reilly Factor that we had to steal this panel.
As long as you give O'Reilly credit, I'm sure he's okay with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much true about anything with him. But different topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the Bolivian president wants it gone. A top Russian leader wants it gone. And there's a scathing piece in the New American that basically says this is an outrage. He should give it back. He is not delivering what the American people elected him for. And we all have voters' remorse because we wanted an anti-war president.
Support what he's doing.
They say we wanted an anti-war president, and he's not an anti-war president.
I'll make a deal. When Henry Kissinger gives his back, then Obama gives his back, okay? Lee Duc-Tho didn't accept his in 1973 because he said there was no peace yet in Vietnam. But Kissinger took his, and he's a war criminal in some countries that won't accept him. So Kissinger should give it back.
Look, the great irony is that Barack Obama's entire political career was built on being anti-war, and in particular anti-Iraq war, okay? And then he ran a campaign where he made Iraq the bad war and Afghanistan the good war. So then when he became president, he was boxed into doing the surge in Afghanistan, which set off the far left to begin with. They were not happy about the surge. The whole idea that Barack Obama would get the Nobel Peace Prize after about 5 minutes in office was ludicrous on its face.
Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't say ludicrous. I would say premature. However, it's not.
Think he deserves it now?
However, he should give it back. However, it's not his fault. I mean, conservatives act like it's somehow he's responsible.
Well, he didn't have to accept it.
It's his fault. Well, Henry Kissinger didn't have to accept his either.
Right, but we're talking about Barack Obama, our current president.
I'm making a comparison.
Right.
Conservatives no conservatives went after Kissinger for getting his. I just want. I want the same standard.
So let's accept that that's true. Do you think that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize now?
He should not give it back. I think.
Well, you said he did. You said it was premature to give it to him back when he got it in 2009. Yes, do you think sitting here today he deserves that?
I think that it's still a story that is still being written. This is a humanitarian mission. I've got some questions about this mission. You and I discussed last night. I think it's got to end. It's got to be quick. We can't take the lead. We got to know how much it's going to cost. I'm concerned about it. But this is much more like Kosovo than Iraq or Afghanistan in terms of when Clinton went in for ethnic cleansing without any American fatalities. This is much more like that than it is about a long-winded, never-ending war that Bush started a couple of them.
When the Europeans that make up the Nobel Peace Prize Committee announced that they were going to give Barack Obama this prize, he should have done the classy thing and said, I've only been president for about 5 minutes. I've not done anything to earn this.
When he accepted it, he said, I don't deserve it. I don't feel like I deserve it.
Then he should have followed through with some action and turned it back. Or
he got a $1.4 million check that he then gave to charity.
You know what he should have done, Megan, is accepted on behalf of American troops that are now carrying out the surge in Afghanistan, winding down the war in Iraq, and carrying out this mission in Libya.
What do you make? Because Alan, you speak for the far left.
I am the far left.
No, I'm just teasing.
Certainly in this room.
But listen, but many on the far left are really upset with President Obama and might agree with this piece in the New American in particular. Last night, speaking of O'Reilly, Medea Benjamin of Code Pink, she founded that organization, co-founded, said the following.
People that support President Obama want to see him as a reluctant warrior, but yet he was the one that gave us the surge in Afghanistan. We still have troops in Iraq. We are dropping drones in Pakistan that are killing innocent people. And now we see what I would say a rush to another war in Libya. So at some point you've got to admit that whether he's reluctant or not, he's giving us a lot of wars for a peace president.
And let me just follow up with one point. When he got the Peace Prize, the committee said one of the criteria was he's somebody who prefers dialogue and negotiations as instruments for resolving international conflict.
Conservatives supported Bush going in the name of peace to Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't like that Obama increased our troops there by 30,000 at the cost of $1 million a year. I don't like that we're spending $600,000 per missile, having launched 110 of them here. I don't like that we don't have an end game or an exit strategy here. I don't like that he hasn't consulted as much with Congress as I think he should. So I do have all those caveats about what we're doing.
And I wouldn't disagree with Alan on those points. But I would also say that the bigger problem for this president, Megan, is that whenever he does commit U.S. military troops to a combat zone, whether it's the surge in Afghanistan or whether it's this particular mission in Libya, he's dragged to it constantly. Remember, it took him over 3 months to decide on the surge in Afghanistan.
But I don't understand that criticism. So he got dragged to this, but then he did it. But now conservatives are criticizing him for doing it in the first place. And I mean, it's like
it's called being deliberative.
Here's the point. The point is that if the commander-in-chief is going to commit American men and women on the line into a combat zone, they better know, and the American people better know, that this commander-in-chief's heart and soul is in the mission. And if you want to know why, the poll numbers show very soft support for this mission. We're rallying around the troops, but it's much softer support than what we saw in previous presidents when they have gone to war, is because why should the American people support it when the commander-in-chief doesn't look like he is?
On one hand, you're being critical of the president for not going in fast enough, and on the other hand, you're critical because he actually took time and deliberated it before he went in and did it, and his heart's not in it, but he should have gone in faster.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are real questions.
That's not what I was arguing.
On a separate point, sort of picking up on where we're leaving off with you guys, there are real questions today about who we're fighting on behalf of over there in Libya. Who are these people we're helping?
Well, I've got another question.
Who will step into the power vacuum?
Is it in the American security interests to do so? That's a very good point.
And we have that debate 10 minutes away. No, that's not for you. You don't get to talk about that one. We have a different panel. Look at her trying to hog this panel.
Shut her up, Megan.
No, there's another panel.
Shut her up.
Thank you.
I can't do it.
But you can follow her on Twitter if you want to hear her thoughts on it. Look, she's still talking.
But that doesn't mean the rebels are less loathsome.
Speaking of my question.
You have to obey the host.
Who are we helping in Libya? Get rid of these two. Run some tape. There is new evidence suggesting it may